you clicked on this video, you probably want to quit your job, right? You've probably seen so many messages online where people are telling you, just quit. Like, if you want to be an entrepreneur, there's never going to be a right time. Just quit your job, quit before you are ready. And I just want to say, you guys, that is horrible, bad, irresponsible advice. Okay, do not quit your job before you are ready. Do not just wake up one morning and decide, you know what, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur, and quit your job with no plan, no resources, and think that everything is going to be okay. You may do that, and then before you know it, you're a millionaire. But you know what's on the flip side of that? You can end up jobless and homeless with no money. In today's video, I'm going to give you some simple, effective strategies that you can use so you can set yourself up for success if you do want to quit your job, so that you can become a full-time content creator or entrepreneur. So go ahead, like the video while the intro plays, and meet me on the other side.
There's no stopping me now. I know my shot. Sit down. Money's all over me. I'm called to be rich and be free.
Welcome back to my channel. I am Ebony Evaughn. Today we are going to be talking about some effective strategies that you can implement now if you know that you want to transition from being a full-time employee working a 9-to-5 to full-time in your business, whether you are a content creator, entrepreneur, freelancer. I'm going to give you some practical tips that you can implement to set yourself up for success. Listen, I know there are so many people out there who are irresponsible business coaches, social media influencers who are just like, just quit. Like, you're never going to be ready. You just have to quit before you're ready. Like, that makes no sense to me. And I feel like that's very irresponsible for people that have large platforms to give this type of advice, because while it may have worked out for them, you don't know what other resources they had that allow them to make that decision when they made it, right? So for example, you may have someone who is like, oh, just quit before you're ready, because that's what I did, but they're not telling you that they were married, their husband, their spouse was the breadwinner, so they had that cushion to be able to quit their job because they were relying on their husband's income anyways, right? Or maybe they're a trust fund baby and they had family resources at their disposal. Maybe they had family and friends who chipped in to support them, whether that's financially, or maybe, you know, they had kids, but their family would watch their kids during the week for them so they didn't have to pay for daycare. Everybody's situation is different. So that's why I feel like it's very irresponsible for people to just go on social media, go online in these internet streets and say things like, oh, just quit your job before you're ready. You're never going to be ready. That is bad, bad, bad advice. So in this video, I want to give you some good advice, some practical advice for how you can actually prepare for leaving your 9-to-5 for full-time entrepreneurship. And so the first thing that I want to mention is, and not only that, like over the last, I would say like 3 or 4 months, I have seen so many people who quit their job for full-time entrepreneurship, and now they're going back either to work 9-to-5s on a part-time basis or full-time because their business didn't work out. So the first step that you want to take before you decide that you want to quit your job, you need to have a proof of concept, okay? Do not quit your job. You don't have a business idea. You don't have a product or service developed that you want to sell. Like, you need to have a proof of concept. So when I say you need to have a proof of concept, this is going to vary depending on your situation, but at the very minimum, you should already have a business idea, a valid business idea, a valid product or service that you've already done market research on, that you know is going to be a viable product. It has product market fit, that you know that people are going to buy it at a minimum, or if you really want to set yourself up, you should already have a proof of concept, in the sense that you have a product or service that is already created and developed, and it has already been purchased by someone. That means someone has paid for your product or service, so you know that there is market demand for this. You know that if you could get one person to buy from you, you can find more people that can buy from you, right? And so that is what I mean when I say you have a proof of concept. You already know there's good product market fit. You've already sold this before, so you know if I sold it once, I could 10x that. I could get 10 people to buy it. If I've sold it 10 times, I could 10x that. And I could get 100 people that will actually want to buy this. So having a proof of concept is the bare minimum when it comes to you making a decision to quit your job or not. If you have not created a business, you don't have a business idea, you don't even know where you want to start, you do not have a viable product or service that has been validated, then sis, stay at that job, come up with your proof of concept, make sure you create your product or service, you validate it, you test it in the market before you decide to quit your job. Do not quit your job with a theory in your head and you don't know if it's going to work or not, okay? You are going to end up in a bad situation 9 out of 10 times. I don't care what these other gurus are telling you. Now, in addition to having a proof of concept, the next thing that you want to do is, if possible, pay up your business and personal expenses. This is what I did when I actually knew that I was going to quit my job. I quit my job in July, but in January, I already knew that I was going to quit somewhere between like April and the summertime. So in January, I started switching a lot of my business expenses that were on monthly plans to annual plans, right? And when I did this, I switched it out over time. You don't want it to be January and then in January you pay everything up for a year, because that means when the next January comes around, you're also going to have this large amount of expenses that are all being taken out at the same time. So what I did is in January, I think my webinar jam, my email, I paid, instead of paying the monthly fees, I just paid them for the entire year. And then in February, there were a couple of tools that I used, maybe Calendly or something, where I paid it for the annual, so then it wouldn't be due again until the next February. And then I did the same thing in March and April as well. So I had switched all of these things over to annual payments. So that helped me in a couple of different ways. Number one, I didn't have to worry about any of these business expenses in the first 6 months when I actually quit my job, because everything was already paid up for a substantial amount of time. But then also this gave me a little bit of buffer room to where I didn't have to worry about making that income to keep those tools going, right? They were already paid for. So that's something that you can do that can help you to kind of give you a little bit of a cushion and peace of mind where you don't have to worry about those expenses. And then in addition to business expenses, you can do the same thing for a lot of your reoccurring personal expenses that you may have. So one thing that you may want to consider, this is not business advice, this is not financial advice, this is going to be different based on every person's situation. But if you are like me, you have a student loan debt, you may want to consider putting your loans into deferment, right? So where you don't have to make those student loan payments, you don't even have to worry about it. But if you do decide to do that, just know, even when your loans are in deferment, they are still going to gain interest. So you may want to at least just pay the bare minimum interest fees, if anything. This is not financial advice though, okay? All right, so you want to pay up your personal expenses. If you have student loans, maybe you have a car note or a house note, you can pay more on your monthly bills. You may decide that you want to get rid of things. One of the first expenses that I cut when I started my business was I got rid of cable. I was paying Comcast $140 something every single month, and I wasn't even watching that much TV because I was busy creating, okay? So cable had to go. I eliminated unnecessary expenses and I tried to pay up as many things as I could. And this is something something that you want to do too, so that you can set yourself up for success and help give you that peace of mind so you can just focus on generating income in your business. Now, the next thing that you want to do, kind of when it comes to managing your business and personal expenses, you want to make sure that you stack your savings, okay? You want to make sure that you build up a nest egg so that in the event that something happens, which life be life and sometimes, okay, and you may have unexpected things that come up. Maybe you have a death in the family. If you're married, maybe your spouse may lose their job. You may get injured like myself. You guys know I broke my ankle back in the summer of 2021, and so that was like a big shift in my business where I had to pivot and like move things around because like, hey, I broke my ankle, like I can't move, I'm on bed rest. I was on bed rest for 3 whole months, and then after that I still had to go to rehab for physical therapy for, I want to say 5, almost 6 months. So you want to make sure that you plan for those unforeseeable events that can happen. You may be, listen, you don't have that 9 to 5. So you and your husband are at home and you got all this extra free time. So y'all be having extra sexy time. And before you know it, you find out you're pregnant. Now you're bringing a third person into your family. And this is another mouth that needs to be fed. And we all know kids are not cheap. So this can be an additional expense that you did not plan for. So this is why it is important, okay? Important that you have a nest egg, that you stack your savings so that if those unexpected emergencies, unforeseeable events do arise, you have backup, okay? You have a little bit of cushion. But let's go ahead and get into the next thing that you want to do before you quit your job so that you can set yourself up for success. And this is going to be creating a daily work schedule or routine. And I know you're like, girl, I'll just quit this 9 to 5. I am not trying to have a work schedule. Now, hear me out on this, okay? When it comes to entrepreneurship, one thing that prevents people from really maximizing and optimizing their success and result is the fact that they have a lack of discipline. And if you are quitting your 9 to 5, it is going to be much easier for you to create or stick to that routine that you were already used to, because you had to get up and go to work to your 9 to 5. Then let's say if you decide to be a full-time entrepreneur and like that first month you just like decide you're going to sleep in every day, and you used to get up at like 6:30 so that you could be at work at 8, but now you're sleeping to 9, 15, 10, sometimes 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon before you actually get to work and get things done. Listen, once you get out of a habit, it is a lot harder to get back into it. So when you're already used to having your 9 to 5, just come up with a daily work schedule or a plan for how you can transition from that traditional 9 to 5 work schedule, whether you work 8 to 4, 9 to 5, whatever it is, how you can transition that into an entrepreneur work schedule. So even though when I had my job, I used to work 7, what did I work? It's been so long. I think I used to work 8 to 4:30. Yeah, I used to work 8 to 4:30. And then when I first transitioned into entrepreneurship, because I already used to get up at like 7 to get ready for work, then I still would literally just get up at 7 and start working for the day. And then I would track how long I worked each day to kind of adjust my schedule from there. Like, even today, it's been years since I quit my 9 to 5 job. And even to this day, I still get up and start work about 7, 7:30, sometimes 8 if I decide to sleep in or like do other things when I first get up in the morning. But typically by 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm up and I'm working in some capacity. Now, the work that I do may be different, but I'm still doing work at some capacity, okay? And then now I had a 4-hour work schedule where I worked from like 7 to 11, 8 to 12 every day, Monday through Thursday. And then Fridays were more of like a personal development day where I still got up during those hours and I just kind of focused on like enhancing my skills, doing some type of personal development, professional development. But lately, y'all, my schedule has been all the way off track, and that's because I kind of got messed up over the summer. Like, I'll probably do maybe a vlog and talk about it, but I got messed up over the summer because typically I only have a set number of clients on retainer that I do full service lunch support for or build marketing campaigns for throughout the year. But I had a client that I worked with like pretty much all of last year and at the top of this year, and then he kind of disappeared, and then he came back and was like, hey, can I get back in rotation? And I told him yes, he could come back in rotation because I was planning on offboarding a different client because the communication wasn't really there and it was taking a lot longer to get things done. But then we had a conversation, so she ended up staying on board. And then I ended up bringing on another client that was supposed to be like a one-time project. And then we ended up continuing our relationship. So I ended up having like double the number of clients that I typically have at one time. And yeah, your girl has been trying to balance my own marketing campaigns and keeping those afloat while making sure that I'm also supporting my clients as well. And of course, like in this situation, my clients have been coming first. That's why I kind of disappeared, dropped off of YouTube for a minute. I wasn't even sending out emails. So I've been getting slowly back on track. But having a structured work schedule and routine is what helps me to get back on track whenever I do get off. And it's also what's helped me to stay consistent when it came from that transition from a 9-to-5 to entrepreneurship. So make sure you develop a daily work schedule and you kind of stick to it so that you have that discipline built in that can keep you going and keep you productive. All right, last but not least, we got to talk about the money, honey. Okay, now you want to make sure that you set and track your income from month to month. So one thing that I find that is like absolutely crazy is the amount of entrepreneurs that do not track their revenue and don't track their income. And so what I find is you have a lot of people who are investing a lot into their business. They're paying for Facebook ads, they're paying for Google ads, they're paying for virtual assistants, they're paying for all these different tools and services for Later and for Webinar Jam and for Flick and all of these different tools to help them run their business, but they don't realize how much they're actually paying in business expenses month to month. And then when they look at their revenue, yeah, you're getting a client here and there, you're making a few sales, but when you look at the total amount of revenue that's coming in, is not more than the expenses, right? Your expenses are exceeding the income that you're generating every single month. This is why it's important for you to track. You want to set clear income goals and you want to make sure that you're tracking them. You're looking at your money every single month so you know where your business is and you can make smarter financial and business decisions. Like, it is crazy to me how many people do not look at their numbers, do not look at their analytics. They just assume, oh, like I got some clients, so I'm doing good, right? But if the money, the sales that are coming in from your clients, it does not exceed the amount of expenses that are going out every month, you are hustling backwards and you're going to find yourself back at a 9-to-5 before you know it. That's why you want to make sure you're setting income goals and you're tracking them as well. All right, so these are the practical tips that I have for you if you want to quit your 9-to-5 and transition to full-time entrepreneurship, content creation. Listen, I'm telling you, I believe in you. I think you can do it, but you just want to make sure that you're strategic about your transition plan and you have a plan in place, okay? So let me know down in the comments below this video. Did you find these tips helpful? Do you have have any other questions, and listen, don't ask me about insurance because I cannot help you, okay? Every time I do a video like this, you guys always ask me like, what am I doing for like health insurance? And I cannot help you. And that is because I was in the Air Force, okay? I was in the Air Force and I ended up getting medically retired from the Air Force. And a part of my medical retirement means that I still get full retirement benefits, just like anyone else who would have retired after 20 years or whatever. And so therefore my medical insurance, my dental, as well as my vision are all supplied and provided to me from my military benefits. And that's one of the reasons why it was a lot easier for me to transition into entrepreneurship, because I did not have to worry about the health benefits or health insurance that I was getting from my job. Because even at my job, I still pretty much, well, I had dental and vision through my job, but my medical insurance has always been through the military, just because it's so much more cheaper for me, and it has always been. So when it comes to what insurance to get, life insurance, health insurance, dental, vision, I can't really give you guys an answer on that. And this is why I say everyone's situation is different, and you don't know what benefits they have that may help them, you know, transition into entrepreneurship. That's a lot easier. But one thing that I may have to look into is seeing maybe if I can find someone who can actually come and talk about, you know, how to get health insurance as an entrepreneur that can be helpful and beneficial for you guys. But I am not the right person that can answer that question for you. So don't even ask in the comments, okay? Because I can't help you out. But if you have any other questions that can help you in your transition, then definitely drop those questions below in the comments, and I will be there to answer them and help you out as much as I can. Other than that, I just want to say, as always, thanks so much for stopping by my internet home. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on those notifications so you will be the first one to get notified anytime I upload a video just like this. And I will see you in the next one. All right. Bye, y'all.